Welcome back to the Wild Side of Weight Loss podcast. I am your host, Leah Davidson, online nutrition and fitness coach and speaker. And I had a wild life and I am a little wild, and I'm sure yours has been a little wild too on this crazy journey of life. My weight loss journey quickly turned into a journey back to who I really am, a journey back to that connection with myself. Years of coping and numbing, self-medicating with food, with alcohol, with drugs, really disconnected me from myself and who I am. And so that really got in the way of when it came to showing up for myself, when it came to, following through with the plan, not defaulting back to self-sabotage, to beating myself up, to my low self-esteem, not feeling good enough. So I was continuously getting derailed by myself and my past. And so I knew that if I wanted to lose weight, to have a healthy body, to be strong, to take care of myself, that I had to start this journey to becoming what I call the wild woman, redefined as an archetype, the woman that lives inside of us who is deeply connected to herself, deeply connected to the people in her life that she loves, to the earth, to her passion, to her purpose. And so that is really what my pursuit is all about. And so if any of that resonates with you, you have found the right podcast. My intention is to connect and for you to know that you are not alone on this journey, and that I want to share my stories, my experiences, and tools so that you can get to your goals faster. And also, so you have somebody in your corner cheering you on, AKA this girl. So let's dive into today's episode. So today I am excited to talk about this. I want to talk about the snack cupboard. What was it like for you in your life? What was your relationship with your snack cupboard? Did you have a snack cupboard in your house? Was it full? Was it empty? I was thinking about this last night, and my snack cupboard at my parents' house, like, we did not have a lot of money growing up, and there was 4 of us kids. And so we had to ask permission to have a snack always. And when my mom bought really, really good snacks, they were gone really fast. Like, we had to fight each other for the snacks. And so a lot of times there wasn't super exciting snacks in there. So we had to get a little bit creative. But yeah, it always seems like there was a scarcity with the snack cupboard growing up. And I can totally understand that coming from my parents' point of view. Like, 4 kids, we can eat a lot, and we lived 20 minutes out of town. So if we were the kids and we're eating all the snacks, well, then we have no snacks left for school, right? So we, I guess, needed to be monitored because, yeah. So, yeah. And I think back to when I moved out when I was 16, I was staying with, at one point, I was staying with my ex's parents, and they had the holy grail of snack cupboards, the holy grail, like anything you could possibly imagine, like candy, chips, cookies, yeah, literally everything. And so going from having this less full snack cupboard to anything I ever wanted, and I could have it anytime, I didn't have to ask anybody. And so I think, it goes from that restrict binge is kind of what I played into it. I started from a younger age with having some binge cycles for sure. So yeah, so it got me thinking how our snack cupboards show up in our lives as adults. My my ex's dad, he came from a place where they grew up very, very poor as well. Like, they had kids from a very, very young age. They were on their own completely. So they had to figure it out, and they didn't have a lot of money. And so he didn't want his kids to ever feel like food was a scarcity in the house, ever. They never wanted anyone to go hungry. Their kids' friends could always come over and help themselves to as much food as they want. And so that was his way of showing love and showing that, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to provide for you. And so, yeah, so it was really interesting. And as a little kid growing up, I remember going to my friends' houses, and same thing, we were allowed to go into the pantry, eat whatever we wanted. They had so much food on food on food. And I just thought, wow, these parents love their kids so much. They buy them all these snacks, they let them have all these snacks. And so for me at a young age, I associated having access, having a health, not a healthy, but having a full snack cupboard to love and feeling love. And same thing with school lunches. Again, like my parents didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so I would eat lunch with some of the girls at school, and they had a full lunch kit, like more snacks than any little girl ever needs in like grade 4 and 5. But they would just have like the best of the best, like cheese strings and oranges and Dunkaroos and Gushers and fruit roll-ups and cookies and like all these things. And I remember just being so jealous. And there actually got to a point where when I was young, I stopped eating my sandwiches that my mom would pack, and I actually started hiding them in my closet in my room. I'm not sure why I didn't just put them in the garbage at school. I feel super bad about it looking back. My mom made sandwiches with regular like deli meat and like the Kraft single cheese slices. And you probably know this, like when you have a sandwich made out of those cheese slices, like by the time it gets to lunchtime, the cheese has kind of like not melted, but kind of the sandwich got soggy and the cheese would kind of stick and seep into the bread. And so it was kind of like this mushy, and I think it was a texture thing for me. And it was just, I really didn't like them. And I think I didn't want to hurt my mom's feelings, because I really loved that she packed my lunch. Like to me, that felt like that was love. And I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And my dad was also really strict. And so I think I was really afraid of being in trouble for not eating the food that I was given, for not being grateful, and also knowing that my parents couldn't afford fancy cheese or fancy bread or, different things for my lunch, that even if I did say something and speak up, that my situation probably wouldn't change any. And maybe I was scared of just having that backlash. So there was a time period that I would just like stash my sandwiches and in the bedroom, and my mom found them, and there was like this whole thing of like mold. Like I could only imagine like what it smelled like. And I remember just feeling like embarrassed and ashamed. And what I would do instead of eating my sandwich is I would find change around the house or steal it from my piggy bank. And I would go to the vending machine. This was in elementary school. I don't know what grade I was in, but it was in elementary school. I was pretty young. But I go to the vending machine every day and I would get a bag of smoky barbecue Dorito chips. And I just remember like having a bag of those every single day instead of my sandwich. And I looked forward to it. I was excited for it. Like, yeah. It's just very interesting to reflect back on that, on those times, and just thinking about where the scarcity mindset comes from and how it shows up in our adult life. And I think back, I wonder how far back it goes, because there's so many memories of being young that I don't have. If some of you know my story or don't, my birth mom and my dad split up when I was young, like 2 years old. And so she left and she never came back. My dad got custody of us. We don't know where she went. Haven't talked to her ever since. Don't know where she is, but she was going through some stuff. Like I know that she had a hard life from what my family tells me. And I think she was just caught up with her own stuff. I think there was drugs in the mix. And so when my grandma ended up calling social services when I was staying with my mom before she left, my brother and I were staying with her, and my stepmom, which is my mom, she is the only mom I've ever known. So sorry if that's confusing, but my stepmom was telling me stories of when social services was called and they showed up to my mom's apartment to just check things out and to see how we were being taken care of, that her apartment was empty, that there was like no furniture. It was a mess. It was very unsanitary. I think there was like diapers stacked up in the corner. There was no food in the fridge. I think she said there was like a moldy bottle in there. And so maybe as a young kid, food was scarce. And so we may not remember these things as a young kid, but our bodies don't forget. And so I think in my heart, one of the reasons my mom left and didn't come back was that she probably thought that my brother and I would have a better life with my dad, with our family, with my grandma and grandpa. And I used to be so sad and angry that she left and wondering why. But the older that I get and the more I start to understand my world around me, that she probably thought that she was doing the right thing. And maybe she was. Maybe she did do the right thing, because I know that I would not be where I am. I would not have experienced safety in my life if I had stayed with her. In a pursuit to find some of my family members, to find her, I was in contact a while ago with one of her stepkids. He's an adult now. We kind of found each other through social media, and he was telling me what life was like for him growing up. And he said, you know, Leah, like you are the luckiest one out of all of her kids. And that really just hit my heart hard. It made me feel so sorry that, you know, that he had to go through such hardship and that he had a really difficult life, like not just with her, but with his father as well. And he was so happy for me and said, like, yeah, you were the lucky one. And so it's just perspective. So all that to say, scarcity coming from a very young age, that we may remember where our scarcity comes from, or we may remember where certain habits or behaviors came from, but there's also that we may not remember. Because I was, secretly taking food from pantries ever since I was young and always thought that I had to hide it. And into adulthood, having that feeling that there's never going to be enough or we're going to run out one day. And when it comes to eating like snack food now, I love sweets. I love candy. Baked goods are my jam. One of the things when on a weight loss journey, when it comes to, okay, like I'm sticking to my meal plan, I'm eating healthy food. One of the things for me that my brain tells me, and this has come up with a lot of my clients as well, is that I'm never going to be able to eat food that I enjoy. And I think that can be a lie that we tell ourselves. But when we sit down and really think about it and ask ourselves, well, is that true? Like, can I still eat healthy food 80% of the time? I can eat food that fuels my body. I can eat protein and vegetables and potatoes. And can I not still have the foods that I enjoy sometimes? A diet needs to be something that we can stick to forever. So if there are foods that you really love and they don't fit into the diet that you are currently doing, we're going to fail every single time. And that's probably not the diet for you. So I really had to learn to switch that mindset, like being grateful. Like, I am so grateful that I have access to a grocery store, that I have money, that I can buy fresh vegetables and fresh fruit, and I can eat protein, and I can feel satiated and full and fueled and have all this energy. We're not back in the days when we used to hunt and gather and forage and we didn't know where our next meal is coming from. Like, I can drive to the grocery store anytime. So kind of flipping that narrative to, I get to eat healthy food. And if I want, I can still travel down the snack aisle and pick whatever I want. And that was another lesson I really had to learn, is that when I did move out when I was 16, I gained like the freshman 20, because I went from a place where we didn't have a lot of food, we didn't have a lot of snacks, I had to ask for permission, to moving out. Now I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want. And so as adults, when we get adult money and adult freedom, with great power comes great responsibility. So we have that responsibility to ourselves to say, okay, how can we moderate this? How can I still eat the things that I love, but still make sure that I'm taking care of my body? So I just encourage you to reflect on like what your snack cupboard was like. And then how do you have your snack cupboard now? Are you a parent? Do you have kids? What works for you in your house? What doesn't? What kind of things do you want to teach your kids? And so for me, the snack cupboard in my house is very like, it ebbs and flows. Sometimes I keep snacks in there that I know my son likes to take to school, but they're snacks that particularly like I don't. love. If there are snacks that I really do love and it's hard for me to say no to, then I try not to keep them in the house and I buy them every once in a while. So there's some tools that we can use to set ourselves up for success. And a lot of times I can feel like, oh, I don't have any willpower. I should just be able to say no. I'm an adult. I know what's healthy for me. I know what's not. But one of my coaches, Coach Adam, Copper State Fit, shout out to you. He said that willpower is like a battery. It's not something that you have or you don't have. It's a battery. And eventually our battery will start to run out. And so we may have something that we really love in the cupboard and we're like, yep, it's fine. I can keep this in here. I can just have some every once in a while. But as you open the cupboard and you see it and you know that it's there, that your willpower is going to start to decline and it's going to get harder and harder. And then all of a sudden, if you're like me, like 2 days ago, even I didn't get all my meal prep done this week. I was in between meals. I had a really busy day at work. And so I didn't have time to eat and I was starving. So I was cooking dinner. Meanwhile, I've choked back like 6 Nabisco. What are the popular cookies right now? The Biscoff. Just 6 Biscoff cookies back to back in a row, like as if it was nothing. I knew that they were in there. I was hungry. I was in between meals. My willpower battery was literally at nothing. So one of the things that you can do to just set yourself up for success is keep snacks in the house that your kids like, that they can take to school, but maybe not the ones that are your absolute favorite, that are really hard to say no to. So really just setting your environment up for success. And if you do want to treat, go out and get like 1 serving of it. Go out and get 1 chocolate bar. Don't buy a whole box to keep in the cupboard at home. Or my partner and I, we took our dog for a walk and we're like, hey, the ice cream stand is still open. So we went for a walk to go get a little ice cream treat instead of keeping a tub full of ice cream in the freezer, knowing that it's there and knowing that we're probably going to have a little bit of it every night and we're going to eat it until it's gone. Setting your environment up is going to help you succeed, and also just becoming aware of who you are, what your patterns are, why they're there, going back in time and just getting a better understanding of yourself. And I do want to keep my snack cupboard full because I do want my son not to feel that snacks are a scarcity. I don't want him to go the other way and be like, oh my gosh, I never get to have snacks, so I'm just going to overindulge. But I'm also teaching him the importance of having protein and what it does for your body and your muscle. He's in Taekwondo and it's like, you want to be fast and you want to be strong. And yeah, so he knows the importance of protein, and he knows the importance of fruits and vegetables to be healthy, to make your stomach feel good. And so I do my best to show him balance, and not that you can't have these, but look at what all this healthy food is going to do for you. One of the other things that I've taught him to do is to check in with his belly. So if he's eating something, he loves Pringles. So he's got like a whole thing of Pringles in front of him and he's snacking out, and maybe he's watching a show or playing a video game. And, I'll just be like, hey, like, check in with your belly. How are you feeling? Are you feeling full? He'll stop and he'll think about it and be like, oh yeah, I am. And this kind of stemmed from, we went to a buffet back in our hometown. Our grandma and grandpa took us out when we were visiting them. And for a kid, all you can eat buffet, whatever you want, like, heck yes, right? And so they had carrot cake on the dessert table, and Deacon loves carrot cake. He probably went back for 3 pieces. I can't remember how much he had, but he had other things. And so we get in the car and we start driving back home, and he's like, oh my gosh, Mom, my stomach hurts. He was totally regretting eating that much carrot cake. But we had a full conversation on, when we're eating, we don't realize like how full our tummy is. There's a delay, and then we're so excited about what we're eating and it just tastes so good. So we kind of laughed about it and just had that conversation of taking our time, eating a little bit slower, checking in with ourselves before we go for seconds or go for thirds. I think that's something that has really helped him. And same with like when he's not eating his food. So if he's sitting at the table and I notice that he's not eating, tell him to check in with his stomach. Are you still feeling hungry? Are you not feeling hungry? Because another thing too, when growing up, our parents can be like, you have to eat your food. You have to finish your dinner. You're not going to get any dessert. You have to sit down and you have to eat. And I want my son to sit down at the dinner table and have dinner with us. But I also want him to learn to trust his stomach and to trust his own hunger cues. So if he's sitting at the table and he's not hungry and he's not eating, and I say, like check in with your belly. And if he's honestly not very hungry, then I say, okay, no big deal. I'm going to save your supper for you. Obviously, I'm not going to let him eat cookies and cake, but I'm going to save your supper for you. And when you're hungry, you can just come back and eat it. And if it's bedtime, and you still haven't eaten anything, then you have to go to bed. You're not getting up in the middle of the night to have snacks. So it's up to you. You have the window between dinner and the time you go to bed to finish your supper. And so that's something that has really helped. And I am doing my best to try to instill healthy food habits into my son so that he doesn't struggle as much as I did growing up. So yeah, so hopefully that gives you guys some ideas and is helpful. I would love to hear about what kind of snack cupboards you had, what you loved about your snack cupboards. Feel free to throw it in the comments. That's it for today. I hope you guys have an awesome one, and I'll see you in the next episode.